and sufficient or enough food supply. While we are still taking full stock of the damage caused, we also are preparing for the possibility that we may be required to call for the declaration of the state of disaster in KwaZulu-Natal. In terms of the latest security analysis, with regard to the security situation, our multidisciplinary law enforcement agencies have been hard at work. Stability and order has returned in most parts of our province. We remain on full alert. We are extremely concerned about the reported vigilante linked to murders in Phoenix, in which at least 38 people are reported to have been killed by vigilante groups. These murders are not only from Phoenix, but also include Inanda and Verulam areas. Since then, the Minister of Police, General Begicele, has assigned a team of top detectives from eThekwini to lead the investigations. Those who died in the unrest include Africans who are in majority, and Indians, although the proportion, we must indicate, Africans who died are much higher. So far, at least 5 people have been arrested, and more arrests are still expected. The arrests are critical in enforcing the rule of law without fear or favor. We are satisfied with the progress of the investigations. However, we want to see the arrest of all those suspects linked to these senseless murders of civilians, many who were traveling on the main road. This week we visited the Nzimande family in Inanda and also met with the bereaved families of about 22 people who died during the unrest. We have started a process toward engaging communities and have developed an intense social cohesion program that will promote unity among Africans and Indians to ensure peace and harmony. The Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster will continue its relentless pursuit to bring those responsible for these crimes to book. In total, at least 250 people are reported to have died, and the police will continue to investigate circumstances surrounding their deaths. The SAPS are investigating 163 cases for murder, and 87 inquest dockets have been opened, and 20 arrests relating to the cases of murder related to the unrest. The highest record number of deaths during the unrest were in eThekwini, which recorded 110 murders, and this was followed by Mkungundlovu, where 20 murders were reported. The majority who died during the unrest had gunshot wounds and stab wounds, while others were badly assaulted. Some people died from the smoke inhalation and severe burn because some of the warehouses that they were looting were subsequently set alight while people were still inside. Others died during the stampede as they fought each other over the stolen goods. As of this morning, the total number of people arrested in the province over the recent looting incidents is 2,763. A majority of suspects were arrested for being in possession of stolen goods. We are advancing the cause of peace and unity. We have started a process toward engaging communities and have developed an intense social cohesion that will promote unity among the people. As part of our response, we will activate community in dialogue program on an urgent basis. This will see the following unfolding: employ the services of conflict resolution facilitators, conduct instability or conflict management monitoring and evaluation in order to determine the impact of our interventions. We have received the reports from SAPS and Metro Police working with community policing forums that the road blockages have been removed and roads cleared for free movement. We have also tasked the JCPS cluster, which is the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security cluster, to conduct workshops on the legal framework which regulate the operation of neighborhood watch forums. Everyone must stick to this legal framework under the leadership of the SAPS and other law enforcement agencies. When it comes to the plan of the government to respond to this, the provincial government have consulted with our social partners, including political parties, businesses, traditional leaders, religious leaders, the labor unions, and the transport operators in order to respond collectively to the crisis. Given the genesis and the manifestation of this challenge, it is our view that only a whole society approach will yield a sustainable response. In this regard, our Build Back Better response is based on the following pillars. Security, wherein we will ensure the security of people, property, essential services, and business. Coordination, which involves establishing a coordinated effort in recovering the economy with all organs of the state and stakeholders working together. Township and rural economy, focusing here, we will focus on reigniting township and rural economy. This is with clear and precise actions to ensure that not only food security is provided, but we also provide development and employment in both townships and rural areas. Flagship projects like bulk buying will be accelerated to ensure access to product to spazas and spaza shops in our township. Addressing generalized anxiety induced by the unrest, and in this regard, we're going to roll out social cohesion and moral regeneration program. In the immediate, we have had to focus our attention on security of corridors like your N3 and N2. This is to facilitate the smooth and secure transit of fuel and food supply. In the coming days, our focus will be on stabilizing the situation and easing supply chain logistics and production. We are also focusing on ensuring that the commercial viability of our ports, roads, and rail network and the continued functioning of the Dube trade port are not destabilized. Stability in the fuel supply is critical because long queues indicate that the economic activity is being suffocated. You will agree that the fuel supply has now been stabilized. Even though some items may still be missing from your preferred retailer, as the province, we have greatly improved the supply and availability of food. As a result, the queues at supermarkets have sharply decreased. Working with law enforcement agencies, we are ensuring the safety of businesses. Besides restoring law and order, we are focusing our energy on putting in place strategies and mechanisms to detect and deter future unrest. In this regard, the Provincial Joint Operations Committee have been activated to monitor, coordinate, and fast-track integrated response and recovery in the province. This includes planning, implementing medium to long-term interventions. The quantification of damage continues and is being coordinated at municipal level by all organs. We are also using OSS and DDM to coordinate through wards and local municipalities. We are encouraged by companies like Toyota and Massmart, which have publicly made a commitment to continue operating in the province despite the fake reports to the contrary. Massmart, which owns Game, Macro, Cambridge Food, and many other retail outlets, was one of the hardest hit businesses. The company has 39 facilities, including its distribution center at River Horse Valley, which were affected by the unrest. Despite this, they have also announced that they will continue to operate in the province and even ensure the retain of all employees. We are confident that many more companies will follow this example. We are, however, mindful of the fear and overall anxiety that exists, especially in the retail sector. We will do everything to assure the sector of our continued and continuous support. The packages that are in plan to assist businesses, as announced by His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, national government is working on extensive social and economic relief package for affected sectors. We are working closely with the national government on this, and as KwaZulu-Natal, we are calling for both a relief and stimulus package. We will also be exploring ways to augment the national support packages to affected companies, workers, and communities. All our efforts will, however, be guided by the final assessment report at the end of the verification process. We are ready to support companies that want to rebuild their premises which were destroyed. At the same time, we will expedite building plans approval, occupational certificate approvals, and EIA's requirement. This will ensure that the rebuilding process is quick and that most of our companies are back on their feet as soon as possible. Municipalities are also coming to the party with support packages for businesses. Like in eThekwini, they are considering to provide rate relief to businesses that can no longer operate due to damage to their property. They also consider to provide a rental holiday to businesses that are using municipal buildings, allow business that currently not operating to request discontinuation of services, set up a single support service at the Durban Exhibition Center with a hotline, and engage with IDC as well as CETA and ITALA to provide financial support. This intervention that I've just unpacked is from now onward, but beyond the 3-month period, we are engaging in an intensive program. This will start by ensuring that we ensure the transformation of the economy, especially trying to force the implementation of principles of inclusive economic growth. To achieve this, we will require that we build a solid skills base and more employment creating ventures. So the medium to long-term response will focus on reassuring, rebuilding, and ensuring that KwaZulu-Natal is rising and uniting. We will focus on promoting KZN brand in domestic, continental, and international market, ensuring the success of the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, which is scheduled to take place here in Durban in November. We will continue to position KwaZulu-Natal as gateway to Africa and African continental free trade area. We are also working with Transnet to implement moving of more cargo from road to rail. This initiative will increase efficiencies and drive down the cost of business in an overall economy. We have also finalized the KZN export strategy. The export strategy forecasts ensure that we aim to produce in KwaZulu-Natal and supply the continent and the world. We anticipate that businesses that are already exporting to the rest of the continent and those that are still planning will find this strategy useful. The strategy will help them in their quest to grow continental sales and to remain sustainable with positive implications on jobs and economic growth. The strategy will be launched soon as part of the build-up to the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, which will be late this year. And this trade fair will be used as the platform to market KwaZulu-Natal and restore investor confidence. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me then take this opportunity now to move to provide an update on COVID-19 status in the province. We should never lose sight of the fact that all these developments are happening against the background of COVID-19, which remain as deadly as ever, if not worse. Even with these challenges, as the province, we have remained vigilant in our monitoring of trends and assessment of development around this virus. Our ability to compile data was affected by civil unrest last week, which is why our numbers dropped. At one point last week, we registered around 600 new cases a day. This might have given us the false hope that our rate of infections were going down. But with the return to work of our data capturers and other partners within the value chain, our numbers have gone up. The latest information we've gathered over the last 24 hours is that KwaZulu-Natal has recorded 1,542 new cases. This brings the total number of COVID-19 cases to 382,354. Sadly, we've now lost 11,313 people. The average number of cases recorded in the past 7 days was 1,212 per day. Over the 7-day moving average, or our 7-day moving average has increased in the past 4 days to about 717 to 1,212 cases per day. eThekwini Metro continues to contribute 35% of reported deaths. Out of this, 2% of deaths occur at home, and the median number of the deaths was 63. Recovery stands at 350,596, and active cases are 16,814. In terms of admission, the number of daily hospital isolation has increased steadily in both private and public sectors. These include patients in ICU and those requiring ventilation. The average number of isolation increased from 52 to 186 admissions per day since the beginning of July. In terms of vaccination, Even against these numbers, we must continue to fight back against the virus. In this regard, our COVID-19 vaccination drive continues in earnest. Yesterday, we breached the 1 million mark for the number of people who have vaccinated, and our numbers now are around, or they stand at 1,041,000. So the number of people who have vaccinated in all our vaccination centers, and the vaccination centers are 191. We are aware that some sites, such as Inkosi, Albert Luthuli Central Hospital, and Moses Mabhida, have already started vaccinating people age from 35 years and above. This is because of availability of sufficient vaccine doses. However, all our sites throughout the province will be fully ready for those who are in this category from the 1st of August. We want to reiterate that even those who have been vaccinated still have a duty to follow non-pharmaceutical measures such as wearing of masks, regular washing of hands, and use of sanitizers, and maintain social distancing. Once again, we call for unity in the province. We call on all people of KwaZulu-Natal to put up their hands and their shoulders to the wheel and to work for a better and more inclusive KwaZulu-Natal for all. In this regard, we welcome the initiative launched by our leading radio station in KZN under the theme #Unite KZN. These media giants are inviting us to focus on the future we want for our province. All of us need to stand up, and we need to support this initiative. We would like to use this platform to invite every citizen to join this #Unite KZN movement. This initiative is anchored around the program to create opportunities, cleaning up our neighborhoods, providing for those who are needy, and ensure that we continue to promote unity and togetherness. This is indeed Ubuntu at work, and as government, we will lend our firm and continued support to this movement for the unity of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Together, let us rebuild KwaZulu-Natal. Together, let us unite KwaZulu-Natal. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, for that detailed overview of where we are in KZN as a province, following the unfortunate and unprecedented situation that unfolded in the past couple of days. Indeed, KZN is rising, and indeed we need to unite within each other in the province. I'll now invite colleagues in the media to ask questions. You can just please indicate which media house you come from, your name, and then ask the question to either the Premier or the MEC. Thank you. Yes, colleagues. I've noted 3 hands, 4 hands. Okay, thank you. We can start with News in Africa. You can just indicate your name and your question, and then we can go to the colleague and then around the room. Thank you.
My name is Malungelo from News of Africa. Premier, I don't know if I've missed out, but I was interested to hear you give us more detail, really, on the kind of assistance that your government will be giving to businesses. As you rightfully pointed out, that some of these
of economic activities in some of the small towns or rural towns in KwaZulu-Natal have been completely obliterated by what we saw over a week ago. But I'm not hearing you clear on exactly a person who owns a business here in KwaZulu-Natal, whose business was affected by what we saw last week, the kind of assistance they'll be getting from your government. Thank you.
Thank you. Premier, there have been calls from quite a number of people to ask that a commission of inquiry be established to find facts and exactly what happened and come up with solutions, especially to what is now being referred to as Phoenix Massacre. Are there any plans in the pipeline, or are you considering to establish a commission on that regard? Finally, yesterday I have on record the Deputy Provincial Commissioner Makoba and the Special Commander Zondi in Phoenix saying 7 suspects have been arrested. But just now, just heard you saying only 5 have been arrested. What's the correct number? Thank you.
Mawande Keswa from ENCA. Premier, I didn't hear you speak about the situations around the reopening of schools. We spoke to the MEC last week and it informed us that they're going to be utilizing mobile classrooms to assist those schools that were completely vandalized and those where the classrooms were damaged. Are we on track with regards to providing those mobile classrooms? What is the current status for that?
Thank you, colleagues, for those questions. Over to you, Premier.
Thank you. What are the steps that we're going to, or what interventions that we're putting in place? Firstly, we will ensure that there is a payment holiday for those who are using the government facilities. These will include people who are in our SEZs. These will include those who operate in the industrial parks, but this will include those who are using facilities of government in our townships, which mostly are owned by Italy. So that is the first. Secondly, we are assisting companies to assess their damage and make applications to IDC so that they will then get support. But more than that, we're working with the Department of Trade and Trade Competition, that Minister Patel. We're working with them to ensure that where they can provide assistance as packages, they do so. So those are specific steps that you missed, which are contained in the statement. We have also, as I'm saying, engaged with mayors to ensure that they work with companies in their respective municipalities in a way that will make it easy for those companies to rebuild themselves. One of that is that companies will find that they've got agreements with municipalities in terms of using buildings or in terms of payment. We have also presented here that eThekwini have come to the board, they've come on board on that. They've come on board, they are saying, for those who have contractual agreements, they will allow them that if they can't operate anymore, they consider terminating that agreement. But those agreements. But they will also work with them in terms of ensuring that they can even defer payments in terms of rate or rent. So those are issues that as government we are initiating to support business. We've also activated the one-stop shop in trade and investment KwaZulu-Natal to work as a center that receive and coordinate support from those who would want support. I think you are now covered on what you want. Mr. Dina, with regard to the number, I think we would want to maintain the numbers we have reported now up until the police update us. And this is not that we are disputing, but the initial report we received yesterday evening was around 5, and we would want to maintain that. We will, of course, interact with General Makoba to get the accurate and the final numbers. With regard to the Commission of Inquiry, we cannot rule out the possibility, but we are meeting with the Human Rights Commission to discuss this situation and look on whether they can be able to investigate and get to the root cause. But most of the people, when you establish the commission, they normally say, no, but the commission will investigate, but don't arrest. It is better that you enforce the law and ensure that police investigate and arrest, while we should not neglect the causal factors which could be established by such a commission. So that's where we are. We will only be able to respond to that once we've gone through the process of engagement with the Human Rights Commission. With regard to schools opening, yes, we have suffered a huge damage. As we have indicated, 139 schools were vandalized, where we can't be able to use those classrooms that have been vandalized. As MEC Mshengu reported, we will of course use the mobile classrooms. We are ready for Monday, and we believe that all schools will be opened accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Premier. I will open the floor to the last round of questions or any points of clarity. If there aren't any follow-up questions, then I will do my one. So I guess that's the last. Thanks, Honourable.
Just following up on your response to Manuela's question. We've spoken to several people within the business sector, and many of them are quite optimistic of a rebuild. The one thing that they say, though, they say it hinges on both provincial and national government supporting them. One of the key things that they highlight is they need more coordination and with government. They say that policies and red tape needs to be removed in order to make business run smoothly. They made an example of applying for a site to be put at the Columbia Industrial Park. They say that it's been over a year that they've applied for this to happen, but it has not happened because they're being sent from pillar to post. And they say it's something that's as simple as a sign. If it's difficult to get that approved to put out there, think of how many more other business operations or undertakings that can't take place. As government in this province, is there any plan to try and assist these businesses to rebuild the province in a way of dealing with policy issues that they have, as well as red tape that affects big corporations as well as smaller SMEs?
Thank you. I think you are quite correct. The red tape has been a problem, and that's why we established the one-stop shop to address those issues. And we are moving to engage the private sector to, at least in that one-stop shop, which is coordinated and led by government. Second, a person who will be there or a team that will be there on their behalf, so that if they've got a complaint from anywhere in KwaZulu-Natal, that person will work direct with government to follow each and every complaint to its logical conclusion. So we will want to ensure that we are more integrated and coordinated to act fast and ensure that challenges that hinder economic growth are addressed with speed for both big corporate organizations and small businesses. We would want to see that happening. And we are going to work hard to ensure also that these companies that are based in KwaZulu-Natal, as I've said, they also benefit from the Africa Free Trade Area. And that's what we are now planning in terms of the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Premier. Thank you, MEC, for your time this afternoon. Thank you, colleagues. This now brings, you've got one last question. Okay, okay.
Masibonge sibingelele kunina nonke. Sibonge ukuthi sithole leli thuba loku-update abantu bakwaZulu-Natal ne-South Africa yonke nge-response kahulumeni kwisimo esibhekane naso se-unrest, ngokunjalo nesimo esabhekene naso se-COVID-19. Siyafisa ukuqinisekisa ukuthi